decided to write a play about Dula. Dula was this American infamy folk hero. He was not a hero, he was a slime ball, basically, in history. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley, a lecherous young guy who married, had to marry a girl, knocked up one girl, had an affair with another woman, spread syphilis among the entire community, and then died, being hung for the murder of one of the women. And I happened to have a friend who said, have you ever really seen the court transcripts of Tom Dula's trial? And he brought me them. And I looked at them and I thought, wait a minute, they tried this man 3 times, and if this is true, everything that was said in the court, why would they try him 3 times? And then I began researching, and I found out that the North had taken over the South, and Tom Dula was a Southerner, and his town was taken over. Now what happened was, everything that was done in this little small town was reported in the New York papers because the first telegraph lines were strung into this community so that the North could see how the North was changing the South for the better. Well, they had to have stories. And they kept reporting how bad and how immoral these Southerners were, and how cruel and how vicious, and how syphilis, everyone had syphilis, and everyone was sleeping with everyone else. And it wasn't the truth. I'm a Southerner. My family were Southerners. We lived back in those Appalachian times. We didn't personally, but our relatives did. And I know there was an honor there. So I began researching what it might have been like to be in that period. And then one night I went to sleep, and it was almost like I was back there. And there were 2 or 3 figures standing there, and they kept saying, tell the true story. Tell what really happened. So I sat down and started writing Dula. And what was so amazing about it is I was writing it and I did not know where it was going. I did not know how these characters fit together. Now, surprisingly, what happened is that Dula, Pearline, who's called Pauline in some reports, Pearline in others, and Ann Melton and Laura Foster were all real people. It is true that he was hung. It is true Laura Foster died. But there were people that said Tom Dula didn't do it. One was an African-American, a black man back then, a black man who actually lived in this community, the only black man to live in this community, and he was a blacksmith. And he wasn't ostracized or anything. He was just a blacksmith that lived at the outskirts of the community. And he said he was shoeing Tom Dula's horse that morning, and Tom was real anxious because he had to meet Laura, and because he was getting married. And the northern courts, the judge they sent down to try the jury for the 3rd time, because he had been hung jury 2 times before, he wouldn't let the black man talk, because everyone knew black people were liars. Now, these are the people who had freed the slaves, but they didn't trust them. They wouldn't do Ann Melton, who said Tom didn't do this, because she was a known adulteress, because she admitted she was having an affair with Tom Dooley. And they wouldn't do Pearline, because Pearline was the local prostitute, the local, changer of boys, turning boys to men. And I thought at first the story was Pearline's, that Pearline was the connection between them. And I didn't know until the end who actually murdered her. And whether it's true or not, it's a more honest story than what the trial had. And what's interesting is that when we started this, we started doing some advertisements about the fact that we're going to tell the true story of Tom Dula. And I got a letter from a woman who said, I am a current, now today generation of Dula. He was my great great, or would have been my great-great-uncle. And thank you. Everyone in our family knows he was railroaded, but no one has ever believed it. Even Southerners don't believe it.
You should not assume. I don't believe they're even after the truth. They're only interested in